Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to VFG Movie Reviews with your host, Tim Williams. How's it going, guys? Welcome to VFG Movie Reviews, and this is my review for 1001. Now, I don't know what I thought about this movie, and I really had to think about this movie, because you're basically rooting for a bad guy. So, and I'll explain that as we go. So the cast for this movie is Teyana Tyler, Josiah Cross, and William Cartlett. William Cartlett plays Lucky, Josiah Cross plays Terry, and Teyana Tyler plays Inez de la Pez. So you're introduced to this character, Inez. She just got out of jail. She's in a halfway house. She's going around trying to get people. She's a hairstylist, so she's trying to get people to hire her on to do her hair and stuff like that. She's a hustler. You can tell she's a hustler. She keeps going up and talking to this little kid named Terry, and you kind of feel that maybe that Terry is her kid and they were separated when she went to jail, and because she's trying to be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna get better, I'm doing better and stuff like that. So she kind of has something to do with his life, you're led to believe. So the kid gets beat up by her foster care, ends up getting hit in the head, and she basically kidnaps this kid out of foster care. They go off and they start a life, and she raises Terry on her own, and then brings in one of her exes, who's a convict just like her, Lucky. And Lucky is trying to like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can be this. I'm not this person. And he ends up being a good role model for the kid. And they really do have this, Inez and Terry have this really hard back and forth. They like being with each other, but sometimes they just can't do it. One of the lines in it is, how are two criminals going to be able to live a life? And that's an interesting point to bring up in this movie. As we go, Terry gets older, and the whole movie is basically over when the building started getting bought up by slumlords and pushing the families out to redo the neighborhood and everything else. And that's playing off in the background as a story about Terry's a very smart kid, but he's just kind of, he doesn't know what he wants to do. He ends up wanting to be a composer. He's really into music. Terry kind of shows him like old school music, and he kind of gets that in his head, and that's a big thing for him. So as everything plays out, Terry gets cancer. This was one of the moments in the movie that I thought was really interesting. He dies, but the whole neighborhood's mourning. They have this big mural out in front of the house. It just shows that communities, like, at some point were coming together, and because everybody knew Lucky, he played a big role, and everybody mourned him. And you find out Lucky had a side chick on top of a kid, and all this other stuff. So basically, things go down. Terry wants to get into the school, so he needs his birth certificate and his social security number. The one he has isn't real, which gets his teacher investigating what's going on. So basically, what plays out is that Terry is not Inez's kid. She basically kidnapped him, and she just wanted to prove that she could have a life. She could have a family, she could do it. And she did do it. She provided for this kid. Like, he had a good life. Lucky, like, had a good life and all this other stuff. And it basically comes down to, in my eyes of looking at what this movie was, it was basically the family that you don't have could be the family that you do. Maybe he wasn't ever going to have a family. Maybe he would have never known that. Maybe he would have never got to the place that he got to if she wouldn't have done this. Now, I'm not condoning kidnapping in any shape or form, and don't think I'm doing that. They have this moment, and he's like, "You're basically my mom, but you have to atone for your crimes. Like, you have to set that example." And at the end, she gets in a car, and they're like, where do you want to go? And she kind of just looks up and smiles. So is she going to go to jail? Is she going on the lam? Is she like... It leaves it open to interpretation of what's going on. This was a beautiful, beautiful movie. Even though, like, at the end, you were pulling for a kidnapper and somebody who just stole a random kid. And it's very deep and very interesting and very sad. I love this movie. This was a great movie. I'm glad I didn't sleep on this movie. Where does this lie on my 5-star review? The story was a 3.5. The cinematography was a 4. Beautiful shots in New York and just that early 90s into the 2000s. Brilliant. Characters were a 4. I hated Inez, and she won me back over, and I loved it. The design is beautiful. Everything in this movie is just handpicked, and you can tell it's brilliant. The total is 3.875. It's a beautiful flick. Go check it out. If you haven't seen it today, watch the trailer. Let me know down below. I would love to know if you guys saw this movie. If you read the book, it is based off a book. Let me know, guys. Thank you so very much for watching this review, and I will see you in our next review.